All right, welcome back to Horrific Horror Review. I'm here with Eric B. again, and we're going to talk several things. Starting with Demon Knight. That was the one we were talking about last week.
Billy Zane.
Greatest overacting of all time in that movie.
Fabulous.
From the get-go, too, when he's rocking the Trans Am.
Great fucking car, cool car chase.
Starts out with an epic soundtrack. I love the soundtrack of that whole movie.
See, you watched it recently, and I have not. And I purposely didn't, because I thought it'd be cool if you're fresh off of it.
I'm fresh on it.
And I'm still kind of flying high off of, man, it was so, I'm looking at it through rose-tinted glasses, because I have not watched it probably in 15 years.
So you've still got all the fond memories.
Oh, yeah, high school memories,
Perfect.
And it was so good. It was probably the first thing Billy Zane did that and the Phantom around the same time.
Right.
And
what a turd that was.
I see, and I love it. I love that awful polished turd. I fucking love the Phantom.
The suit and the ring.
It was so
purple,
bad.
Right?
It was purple. It was purple. Oh yeah, yes sir.
Green Lantern.
It
almost.
Was purple. The suit was purple.
Like Barney, fucking purple.
Very man. There's only a couple ways you can go with purple.
I remember they had like a whole slew of merchandise going through.
Did they?
It was like Taco Bell or something.
Oh yeah, you're right. You are right.
Free there, junk that you got.
There was free Phantom shit from some shit box.
So bad.
Yeah, for sure. But that was my introduction to Billy Zane. Was around that time. I know he was in another movie with Nicole Kidman that I can't remember.
Oh.
It was a thriller on a yacht. Like a small, it just wasn't my style at the time, especially because a little kid,
Right, yeah, so you don't give a shit about that stuff.
Yeah, but him in this movie he's fucking phenomenal, and everyone says the same thing. People who like Demon Knight, Billy Zane.
Yeah, he sold it for sure. I mean, everybody in the movie was great. Like, I loved all the actors.
Is it Uncle Willie?
Right, the drunk and. Jada Pinkett Smith with the short hair and still young.
Mm-hmm.
And that douchebag dude that comes to fuck the whore. He got battery hooked up to his neck.
Smith or something.
I can't remember. He's a total
Thomas Hayden Church.
He's a total douche.
He was.
And he always plays a douche.
He was the Sandman in the last Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie.
Okay. I didn't see it. Not a fan, but
he was
a big
cool.
Spider-Man fan. Like I saw one of the new kid, whatever that is.
Tom Holland.
Like not the newest Amazing Spider-Man. Whatever. The one before
Garfield.
That.
Which one did you see? The first or the second of the Amazing Spider-Man movies?
Who's the bad guy? I can tell you.
Was it Electro or was it the Lizard? Was the Green Goblin the
now I'm embarrassed. Which one did I see? I started watching one. I started watching one with Michael Keaton, and I bowed out of it.
Oh, that's the new one. That's the one. That's the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think I had that on my
Holland.
Fire Stick or something.
No shit, and you
bowed
just
out.
You just
no
shit.
I didn't like it.
Really?
But, no, and you know what it is that I liked him in is that Avengers movie, or was it Ant-Man? It was
with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it was the Civil War. It was the Captain America
Civil War.
Yeah,
and he takes on the Ant-Man, right? Or tries for a minute before he gets giant
two
or whatever.
Themed characters.
Yeah, that's what I liked him from. Then I guess was that
it was cool. He
gets kicked the suit from like Tony Stark, right?
Yes, it's Stark technology for sure.
Okay.
And in his movie, in the Amazing Spider-Man, they do show you at the end the suit that Tom Holland was using when Tony Stark discovers him and picks him up and makes him a new suit. It's like sweatsuit.
And it was like, we're gonna make you a pseudo helper Avenger,
right?
Kind of unleashed,
which
not
is
part
really
of the club, but at the same time,
insanely irresponsible thing to do
because he's just a kid.
Because that's a high school boy. It's a very Bruce Wayne Dick.
But better to jump in and control it than to let it run amok through the city alone.
That's a good point. He's going to be running around doing this shit anyway.
Right. Okay, so Demon Knight. So I hate Spider-Man. It's such a pussy.
Oh, man.
Uncle Ben died.
Spidey.
So I can see in your face you have like a love for him. You're like,
You can't.
you can't not love
all
Peter
right.
Parker.
You know what it is? It's the icon. It's every comic book I picked up as a kid, even if it wasn't Spider-Man, had his face in the fucking upper left-hand corner.
Right?
Do you know, man?
Yeah, and that's how you knew the good comics, too, when I was a kid. If there was a barcode up there, it was junk from a shit store.
Right.
If it had the Spider-Man face, that means it was from a comic book
or
shop.
For me
or
personally, the DC Circle.
Right. Not a DC fan either.
Oh, man, I love DC.
I've always been Marvel.
I grew up on DC. I did.
I did, too, and they're all...
I did. I can't say it's...
Like, Superman was such a douche, but I liked what was it called, Bizarro World or whatever? Where, like, he had, like, the 5 o'clock shadow thing going on and he turned bad. It was gray.
I can't say what saves DC Comics for me other than what a lot of other people say, and that's Alan Moore. When he did Swamp Thing, and his
Swamp Thing was an awesome movie.
Interpretation of the DC universe was, it's Alan Moore, so obviously he's coming from the point of view of magic. He's thinking magic, and all of his characters are very esoteric and, magic related. Right. Constantine he created to go into the Swamp Thing books. Right. But and Frank Miller, that whole Batman thing, which has been worn the fuck out and finally beaten to fucking death by Zack Snyder. Right. Thank you, sir, for beating it to shit. But Demon Knight, it's
many things about it I love.
There's a million things about it. Thomas Hayden Church, that's what got us off
the comic book. The whole holding that cross that's filled with the blood.
The key with Jesus' blood that you can refill with your own blood.
To recharge it.
As long as it's mixing with just a little bit.
It recharges the whole bit, right?
Of JC's blood. Jesus Christ. Right. And who filled it? Was it Judas that filled it?
I believe so.
Because I haven't seen it.
As he shied away from... It was one of the disciples, supposedly. That was standing there. And
I'm assuming Judas. You would think,
He's the only one still milling around.
Yeah.
Exactly. You fucking bastard.
Right.
If you believe in that sort of thing.
Yeah. Just from a story point of view.
And there's a very demonic looking character. I don't know if you're supposed to think it's Satan or a derivative of whatever, but it's like reaching out at him, and the blood drips on the hand and it burns him, and so he's like, oh shit, so he collects it in that key, like right there,
right?
And then later on you get the story about how our main character gets it in like World War I. In a ditch, and they're fighting these crazy fucking looking dudes. It might have even been World War II. I remember.
No, it was World War I.
Was it?
Yeah, he was a doughboy. Yeah, for sure.
It was in the trenches.
It was the trench warfare, World War I.
Right. Yeah. And they're fighting off the bad guys that actually had like electro eyes and shit because they were coming for the shit. That was the perfect alignment of the stars on his hand or whatever, and that's when he passes it off.
The tattooed stars.
But like pouring that blood out to seal up the doorways and stuff, I love that.
I did too as a kid.
The first time.
Yeah, I was like, wow, what a cool weapon.
Sweet,
right?
Like, yeah.
You think as a kid of ways,
and you're like, all I have to do is, the whole story of all we have to do is protect this key through the night. We got to make it through this one night, and then it could be a week later, a month later, 2 years, 10 years, a lifetime. You don't know when the stars are going to line up again perfect.
Right.
And that whole story about how darkness has collected all the other keys. There's like 9 keys or something, or 8, I can't remember, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're down to 1. That key is the last one they need, and then it's full on darkness take over the world. So it's the end of the world battle.
So there are other keys.
Yes, and they've possessed them all. They were scattered about the universe.
And there are how many? 9?
I think 9, I want to say.
And they have 8 of the 9.
They have all of them but 1.
Okay.
So this is like this is the last one. This is the last stand. They were making the stand for humanity,
literally.
Yes.
So that's
complete darkness and
it's breaker between us and hell, basically. On Earth,
is him. Yeah, he's got to save that key through the night.
It's definitely a hero story.
Totally.
It is.
And it's got all the greed and things that real humanity would have too. Like the one douche, that guy, he's willing to trade the key if they'll let him out of the building safe.
Thomas Hayden Church.
Not caring that the whole world will end.
The Roach care. Hey man, It feels good, do it.
Right?
Yeah.
Such a piece of shit.
He totally, and he's like a pervert, degenerate.
Right. She had him hooked up to a battery in there and shit.
My nipples are burning.
Yeah, smoking or something. He said, yeah.
It was great.
Right.
Yeah, he was
and
a sellout.
The cop too, the bumbling cop was funny. He's have you seen Dead Man? Do you know that Johnny Depp movie?
I have. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
The Tonto character, whatever, the guy who played the Indian.
Nobody?
He was the cop, the bumbling cop in Demon Knight. Yeah.
Because I know
the guy who's. Do you have any tobacco, William Blake?
I'm pretty sure I know. Do you remember they did a Munsters remake of the Munsters in the late 80s, I think?
Like a remake, or when they made like a TV movie?
No, it was like a remake of
different characters,
completely different actors playing the same characters.
No, I must have blocked that out entirely.
There's a reason why you did, because it was a pile of shit.
I would never acknowledge
and
that.
I'm pretty sure that sheriff guy played Herman in the remake.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if I remember
so
correctly.
Horrible.
It's really terrible. But yeah, he gets his head knocked off, doesn't he, by Billy Zane?
Yeah.
Boom!
Yeah.
And then it's the whole...
And then the lady who runs the place,
love
the hotel
her,
or whatever.
Love that actress.
I
don't
know
her name.
She's.
She did amazing.
I'm really stuck with her because my kid watches. She was on Bones or Grey's Anatomy or something. She's that tough cop. She was a lawyer lady, or
I think you're right.
One of those shows. She was the tough lawyer lady. I think maybe. I think
one of those network.
Yeah, definitely. That my kid makes me watch, So yeah, I liked her in that. She got her arm cut off, and then she starts getting drunk.
Loved it.
She's just drinking booze the rest of the time.
I love when she's holding up her bloody stump, and they're like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm giving you the finger."
Yeah.
That was great.
That was great.
She was cool. And I loved the voice of Roger Rabbit, played the postman, who was getting ready to go postal on the post office with a fucking cachet of munitions.
And no ammunition. That was the greatest part of that whole scenario, was he had not one bullet, but he had a trunk full of Uzis not one bullet.
You're right.
What an unstable fuck to have that kind of setup.
I felt, what I got, what kind of vibe I got off this movie? I got a very Maximum Overdrive.
Okay. Right?
Army of Darkness kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean?
There's the bad army outside, and you got to survive the night inside.
It's like an action-adventure movie with horror elements.
There was even the tunnel, just like Maximum Overdrive.
That's right. Yeah. It's very similar. Very similar movies, but...
So we can't talk about this turd without going straight into Bordello of Blood.
Sweet.
And I watched them back to back.
I see, that's awesome.
Which, I don't know if it was a gift or not, because the first one is so good.
It's so good. It's
and
a really solid, good horror movie.
Is just holy shit.
It's ridiculous.
Holy shit with the actors.
I can't believe they made a movie out of it. I can't believe.
They got the cool guy from from Fright Night, Jerry, whatever. The main vampire.
He was the preacher.
He was the evangelist.
Chris Sarandon, is that his name?
So.
Yeah,
total douche. I mean, nice guy in person.
Jerry Dandridge from Fright Night plays, fucking.
He had like a laser beam cross and shit that got utilized later in the movie, of course.
You know what? And when they show that laser beam cross early in the movie,
when it's not working, but you know it was going to equate to something.
Thing turned up so high. And you know later on that thing's going to come into play with killing of some fucking vampire. You can't have a laser beam in the shape of a cross in a vampire movie and not have it come into play in the climax of the film. But
so many things wrong with this movie to me. That Corey Feldman, it's at the height of his
just Corey
cocaine alone, I think, fueled. But his acting is horrible in it. And they give him almost immediately. It's in the third scene you see him in or whatever. He gets this 5 o'clock shadow.
Okay.
That has been done with makeup. It is not hair. It is not. Like if you pause the Blu-ray and zoom in,
that's bad.
It's like the old soot on a fucking wine cork routine. It's really bad. And then it fluctuates throughout the movie of being lighter and darker.
I do remember the 5 o'clock shadow when he's in his vampire form.
Right, yes. And it's bad.
And it being pretty bad, yeah.
It's very nicely manicured from his eyebrows down into it. It's so fake. It killed me.
And
the one-liners that he says, and oh fuck, it was just so bad. He was like the epitome of that came too late to the 80s party.
Yeah, he was a little boy.
He wanted to be almost like Bender from Breakfast Club kind of feel, but it's just the leather jacket didn't sell it. Bro. Yeah, it was bad. And the idea of a whorehouse where 30 guys come a night to die can only run for so long.
Really weird, right?
Yeah, I liked the concept. I thought it was great if it was traveling, but it was a permanent fixture of the neighborhood, and the parties were always so huge. There were so many guys in there that. And they were all feeding him to the one lady who needs your heart.
So the movie kicks off very Raiders of the Lost Ark style
with a midget,
with a little person, and I've seen him in quite a few movies. He was in Willow.
Of course he was. Come on.
What?
Of course he was.
Yeah.
Say Wizard of Oz just to make me totally crack up.
He was one of the guards, one of the kind of like hunter guys in Willow.
In the village that thought Willow was a piece of shit.
He was kind of like okay with Willow towards the end.
Yeah,
bit,
they did that.
Came around.
That handshake where they grab each other's forearms.
For sure, all medieval style,
You came up in the world,
right?
You weren't the lowly magician's helper, whatever.
I won't laugh at you anymore, Willow.
I love Willow.
It's a great movie.
I have a weird trilogy with that. It's Willow always turns into Legend.
Okay.
Legend always turns into the Dark Crystal.
Okay.
And then if I'm not totally passed out or inebriated in some manner, it has to turn into Labyrinth. It's all those movies hand in hand for me. It's like a weekend.
Yeah.
I can't watch them without each other.
Those movies go really well together.
It's the same era for me, pretty much.
From the same time period.
Right?
The early 80s was a great time for fantasy movies.
That's a whole show in itself, is those movies.
Because, just because of the practical effects.
So what's your take on Bordello?
Man, it's a terrible fucking movie.
Okay,
it just is, but it's fucking. I'll watch it when it's on. If I turn on the TV and it is 9:30 and I got work tomorrow, chances are at fucking 11:30 I'm still gonna be sitting there watching this stupid ass movie, commercials and all.
Right.
Because I don't know, Dennis Miller is.
We have to touch on that. How did that guy so staunchy political correct?
Oh, so
how did
weird.
He end up in that? Like his attitude towards the other people in the movie is his normal attitude and almost the attitude towards the movie.
I heard that he was such a dick on set. I heard he was a real asshole.
The whole thing feels like I'm better than this, including this.
Yeah.
Like I'm better than this.
I definitely
why am I in this movie?
I watched this movie at the Dollar Theater in my hometown.
Which were great. I love those.
I love
sticky floors, fucking cheap shit.
And I remember watching it and thinking, man, Dennis Miller is really selling this "I'm an asshole" thing. Because I feel like a dick right now. Like he's making me feel bad just for watching the movie.
He had almost a Dennis Leary.
Oh, he was just dripping with loathing for you for coming to see this piece of shit movie.
Right.
But
such disdain for the police force that he'd talk down to him.
And the actress, the main good girl of the movie, is
she was in a bunch of other trash.
Yeah, I don't know her name. She's not a good actress. I probably should know her name.
I should.
She was in Baywatch and shit. I won't to say much more about her other than she was also
horrible performance.
Yeah, she was really bad. She's always really bad. I don't like seeing her in movies, and I'm a dick.
Yeah, and why do you get a tramp to play a girl that's not playing a tramp?
Right. You're kind of going in the wrong direction.
Exactly.
But Angie Everhart plays Lilith, like the queen of the vampires, which is a story that I think deserves like a legit, really good movie. Like,
Okay.
Lilith, the OG
Right,
wife
right.
of Adam, like is a vampire and the
Right.
mother of all monsters on the earth.
Right.
What a cool movie that would be. That's not this fucking movie.
It is not this movie.
What does she do? What does the queen of the vampires do when she wakes up? She creates like a
whorehouse.
A whorehouse. She creates a whorehouse
in the undergrounds of a cemetery's funeral home.
In a suburb of Los Angeles, maybe?
It felt very suburb, except for when they showed the house. The house itself had all these trees outside. It felt very Nashville.
Right.
Or Georgia or something.
I got the idea they were out, like, way out from the city. The only city vibe I got was when they're go to Dennis Leary's office,
which felt downtown.
Very
right? Much so, yeah.
It didn't.
So another confused
whoever shot that movie
didn't.
Right. It doesn't.
I think it was an afterthought.
It doesn't meld together well.
No,
it's not even my thoughts are skewed about it. It's so poorly edited.
Like National Lampoon's cranked out second version, or like.
There's something that's bothered me about that movie since I was a little kid. And it's Dennis Miller's character is the private detective, and he's looking for Corey Haim's character.
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Corey.
I can't mix up
with Corey.
And yes, he's actually getting paid to find him.
Yeah, by his sister. And he goes to the bar, and there's that crazy fuck who
you like sex. You want to get fucked.
It's like
you got to ask for the Carlisle funeral.
Right, and this guy, And
it's funny because we work in a cemetery, so it's funny to hear somebody say that.
For sure. So this guy convinces Dennis Miller to go to the same whorehouse. And for whatever reason, I don't know why the fuck they sent him out that night, because Dennis Miller gets there and they're like, we're closed, motherfucker.
Right. Well, it's the in-betweens where you got to clean up after the night before of eating people all over the place. But you got to restock the bar. Why is this
guy out there like telling people to go on a night when they're not ready? Is he like a loose cannon? Are they gonna like?
No, you think?
Do you know?
I think it's the second time around is what it is. I think he goes there independently.
Because
He just doesn't somewhere. Know. He finds out from the kid buddies that were gonna go with him that night. Whatever. He finds out and goes there, and they kick him out. And then he goes back the next night after the dude at the bar tells him.
Yeah.
And that's when the guy goes, "Oh, I see you decided to come back the next night." Because he kept saying he couldn't come back another night. He wanted to come to that funeral that night, and it was like cleanup night or whatever.
Right.
So he does come back the next night, and that's when they let him in. There's the in-between night. So the guy did send him the night that they were open.
He did?
But, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because he went the night before off of the information he got from the kids playing pool.
You watched it. You're right.
Yeah.
I haven't watched this movie in a while.
Yeah. But either way, it was so weird how they had a guy that was just funneling business into that place.
He's the fish. He's like just reeling in business.
But he wasn't being quiet about it. He wasn't being subtle. He was yelling it in a crazy manner.
Wasn't there a scene where he's like layering on like sunblock or something?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So they do imply he's like
in the club
in some way.
Yes.
All right. Got you. Yeah, because Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman.
Right. They are the same person, but
they share enough fluids.
I'm sure they have.
I shouldn't say
that.
It
tastes like Weinstein.
Yeah, they're definitely more than friends, those guys.
But at a show later.
Oh man, because his character turns into a vampire later on.
So did you see it in the theater? Did you see this
later
in life?
I did. I saw it at the Dollar Theater, and I remember thinking Angie Everhart was actually pretty hot.
Right.
At the time. Maybe not in that movie, but at the time. I remember she was... I don't know if she was still married to Sylvester Stallone at the time she made this movie.
Right.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think they were divorced by then. And she needed a fucking job. She needed a paycheck. Right. And HBO was like, look, we've got a real pile of shit. We just need somebody hot. And she was really bad in it. Angie Everhart was so bad in this fucking movie. She was really bad. She was really bad. But the ending was what they showed you the ending in the beginning with the fucking laser.
Yep.
The Crypt Keeper, I remember the Crypt Keeper, his opening and ending wasn't even, it was really bad.
Yep.
You know what the best part of this movie, the best part of Bordello of Blood was Breaker as the mummy with talking to the Crypt Keeper.
Agreed.
It was the best part of this movie was something from the first movie.
And they're having a challenge where originally we're going to cut a hand off, my arm off, whatever. He's down to a head by the end of the movie.
All I remember is the mummy talking,
negotiating with him.
Like he's talking shit like old Hollywood stories or old ones. I don't know.
Yeah. That was the best part of the movie. It was him being a mummy.
Yeah, it was the best part.
And it struck on for me, it reminded me of, I want to say it was a Tales from the Crypt. It might not have been. I think we've talked about this before, but it was a mummy that was on a TV set. Didn't we come to the conclusion it was Stranger Things?
It was Amazing
Stories. That's what it was.
And it was the best mummy story I've ever seen in my life.
Right? It reminded me of that.
It was
the same getup.
This stunt man is playing a mummy in a movie. And I think one of the mummy props is like a legit piece of Egyptian art with a mummy in it.
Right.
And the mummy wakes up and I don't know.
And everybody thinks it's the actor.
Right. And they're shooting at him and shit, if I remember correctly.
Right.
I was 5 when I saw this.
Yeah, I was pretty young
seen
too.
It since.
Right? That's something I gotta dig up.
All I remember is it ends with him
Wasn't
making
it Steven Spielberg
Steven Spielberg definitely had
something.
Yeah, I don't.
I think it was like Steven Spielberg Presents Amazing Stories or something.
And he produced it, and I'm pretty sure he directed at least a couple of those.
It had I loved the story about the bomber that lost its landing gear.
That's my favorite.
And dude has to draw in.
That's my favorite. Of the Amazing Stories, that's my favorite Amazing
I loved
story.
that one too.
That's Kevin Costner played the captain.
Right. And that was to keep the guy that was stuck in the belly gun or whatever.
He was
from
in the belly
dying.
gun.
They had to draw.
Wasn't the belly gunner also the guy who drew? Like the guy who was stuck? Wasn't he also the guy?
So.
And he draws the plane with big cartoon wheels.
And as soon as they get him out of that thing, the tires
as soon as they get out from under the plane, it
smashes to the ground.
It was sitting on the cartoon wheels long enough for them to touch the wheels and shit. You remember them touching it?
Yeah, and it had like like the tires in Roger Rabbit look to it.
Right, it had the big red patch on it.
Right. Yeah. Which
always
leads me into the bombing series in heavy metal.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Flying the bomber and it crashes and there's the skeleton dudes in the crash plane.
The bomber scene. Yeah, those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah, it always makes me think of that.
It's very similar animation.
Good. Right?
Do you know? It had that real life.
Because it was like they were painting over real people acting anyway.
Right.
Kind of feel.
Or not animation, but it was a similar. The animation in that heavy metal movie reminded me a lot of that. The look, because was that one of Steven Spielberg's one of the ones he directed? I know for sure that he directed the one with the kick the can with the old people.
Twilight Zone.
Was that the Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone.
See, I'm confusing.
Yep.
See, I'm mixing up a lot of movies that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Is that what that fucking
is? Kick the Can is Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone the movie.
You're right. You're right. Oh, I got it.
That's a pretty good one. That's a great movie. The last horror con that I went to.
That's a complete. Yeah, you're right. That's a completely.
They had that bunny
anthology,
the evil bunny,
and we've talked about the Twilight Zone movie before,
right?
But
John Lithgow.
Bordello of Blood isn't worth watching if you haven't. If you don't have fond, weird memories of going to the movie theater to see it,
or the build up to it, like the
yeah.
Crypt Keeper commercials of how scared you'll be.
At the time,
it turned into a fucking 80s TNA flick.
So did, like you see on like Rhonda Shear or like Up All Night, or whatever the fuck
Right.
that shit was. Really bad.
Up All Night. I remember that.
Or it was somebody else before.
Elvira. There was Billy Bob. Whatever.
Yeah, Billy Bob did. Billy Bob Briggs. Joe Bob Briggs.
Joe Bob Briggs. There you go.
He did a really cool monsters show.
Yeah, he did.
That I really.
They were
liked.
trying to bring that back for a minute too.
I like horror hosts. I like that.
I loved Elvira
idea.
with the shit.
I liked Elvira. I like Joe Bob.
Did you watch Mystery Science Theater?
I did watch Mystery Science Theater.
Right.
I did like. I don't know if you got it. In Chicago, Sven Gulli was on.
No.
Oh man, Sven Gulli and son of Sven Gulli are the two best horror hosts I've ever seen in my fucking life. They're amazing. Yeah, Demon Knight is a fine horror film. It is worth watching. It doesn't feel like a Tales. If you know Tales from the Crypt, it does not feel like a Tales from the Crypt episode. Most Tales from the Crypt episodes are stories about you just got what you had coming to you.
Exactly.
That's a Tales from the Crypt episode.
Right.
They're usually not horror hero stories. It's usually about somebody does something fucking shady.
Yep.
And either
caught you cheating, and now I'm gonna kill both of you.
And they get caught up in some shit.
Like almost, it had those feels like the Creep Show episodes.
Right.
It was always
right. And they were all a lot of them were based originally on EC Comics stories. You know, the Tales from the Crypt comics and Vault of Horror and whatever. There was like a third one, but and you know they all had different hosts. There was the Crypt Keeper and the Vault Keeper, and then there was there's a third one I'm fucking forgetting. I can't remember what it was. The Old Witch. Right. That's that one, the Old Witch. And they'd all host. They're all essentially the same fucking character,
right?
And they'd all host different, stories. But I love the anthologies. I love anthology movies. I really do. And Tales from the Crypt, I think, would have benefited from being an anthology movie as opposed to one big horror movie. Even though Demon Knight was awesome, Demon Knight could have been a movie just as Demon Knight. If it did not have Tales from the Crypt attached to it,
it still would have been great.
It might have even been better received. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Get locked into that.
There's something that happens when you throw the Crypt Keeper at the front of your fucking movie. Right. You know what I mean? Like you're putting your movie in a very specific category.
Right.
And yeah, he's I don't know. The Crypt Keeper was always cool until that second movie. Even the first movie, I didn't really like his banter. I thought it was just too.
It's very campy, Freddy Krueger.
Man,
it's campy.
Dude. Talk about two people who could have had a fucking conversation. Freddy and the Crypt Keeper.
Right.
Like, oh man, those two guys would have a great fucking conversation.
I would listen to that.
But yeah, and Bordello is just. I can't say enough bad things about it, and I don't want to be an asshole.
Right.
But there's something about it because I still watch the fucking thing if it's on. But I'm a horror guy. Right. I'm not gonna be like, oh,
there's
nothing's on.
There's a lot of bad movies that I'll let it.
I'll put on baseball. I'm not that guy. I'm just not. I'm not going to put on the ball game. I'm going to put on whatever horror movie happens to be on. If that's it, that's what I'm watching.
I have a perfect scenario for that last night. I wasn't willing to commit to something that I really wanted to watch or something that I hadn't seen or something I was really interested in. So I ended up going with Son of Dracula.
Which
is deep in the Dracula box that... It's Lon Chaney Jr. As Dracula, or we're
watched it recently.
It's Count Alucard, which is Dracula spelled backwards. What a great play on. They show it the first time they show it. It's on his luggage, right?
Yeah,
and it's turned sideways, so you're forced to read it as Dracula. Even
they don't even let you figure it out by yourself. As
it doesn't downplay it well, and it's real good. But real shitty at the same time.
I know
what I kept thinking was, for as much shit as I give Lon Chaney Jr., he has been the monster. He has been the mummy. He's been Wolfman. And he's testing the waters as Dracula now too.
Right.
Had
he played all those monsters up until his Dracula?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe that was the final straw.
Like I haven't done Dracula yet.
Right.
Guys,
right.
Throw me a fucking Dracula.
Exactly.
Please,
Bella's not feeling too well right now. Let me roll with it. Yeah, and by now, by the time they've made this one,
mm-hmm.
Universal has really figured out the flying bat scene. It doesn't look like it's on a string anymore so much.
That's what I was going to say.
It doesn't. It still flies campy, but it doesn't look like it's on silly string.
When you say Son of Dracula, what I think of, the image I think of, is Lon Chaney walking up into the smoke or fog and raising up his cape like wings,
mm-hmm.
and then it cuts to the animation, and it's an animated version of him shrinking into a bat and flying away, and it looks so good.
And
it looked really good.
That one is really good.
It looked good.
2 steps past that, they're talking about how he can turn into a gaseous form.
Right.
And it's funny because the whole conversation is about how he could be stealthily listening to people's plans of how to thwart his plans, you know? And then he just
as he
turns into himself from the smoke.
It's like, what's up, bitch?
And it was such an amazing...
I can.
Yeah, right, exactly. And now I know your plans, and now you're fucked, you know?
What are you going to do?
And it was smoke to person, they really perfected it. It was, you could tell it was at the tail end of all that James Bond stuff.
All of the technical stuff, all the techniques that they had.
Like how they got better with the Wolfman. You know, it wasn't like the first one where it was just stage. Even though that was amazing.
It was a lot more subtle. It was
they knew how to speed up the frame.
It was a lot subtler transition than a kind of clunky 5-part fade.
Yeah,
exactly. It was more like turning down a dial real slow.
At the start of Son of Dracula too, it's got the girl that's invited Count Alucard to come stay there.
Mm-hmm.
She goes out to talk to this witch doctor lady that's like basically, it looks like Dagobah. She ends up in this weird little hut with this old lady.
It's like Louisiana swamps and
totally.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she's being warned about Count Alucard. You know?
She is.
And he turns up as the bat and attacks her face, and they keep panning the camera back and forth fast, you know, so like it's an attack motion type thing.
Right.
And then she's died of a heart attack.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
Which you find out later in the movie, because he's like, oh, the old lady died out there of a heart attack. And
they don't say anything about the lacerations on her face?
No. Like, apparently he didn't actually cut her face
Oh, really?
Yeah,
he just batted against her face and scared the fuck out of her and gave her a heart attack.
Yeah, she knew it was a true demon, whatever. So
she knew
the movie starts right off the
You know what? If Dracula was in bat form and whacking against my face, it would probably give me a fucking heart attack too.
Right. And she knew who it was. She knew that he was a fake and that he wasn't who he said he was.
Right. Because isn't the fact that he's a fake isn't that brought up in the movie?
Yeah, it was several times. There's a couple people that are trying to chase down his history.
Yo, I know this dude's not they've never heard of him.
Yeah, and he's like, I think this is funny. He calls like the Hungarians or whatever it is.
Okay.
And he wants to know if there's really an Alucard family and shit. And he's like, I thought it was funny because, you know, it's Dracula spelled backwards, you know?
Right.
And the other guy's like, yeah. And he starts talking about Dracula, and he's like, oh, well, I'm actually the guy, the authority on it. So he flies out, and he's explaining to him about how this guy has to be Dracula and shit.
Gotcha.
And that's when Dracula appears, and he's like, ha, now you know my plan. And it's basically saying that he left Transylvania because it's old and worn out, and everybody knows about him and shit. And this is a fresh new world with fresh meat. Nobody sees him coming. He's like, this has everything I want and desire, you know?
Yeah, he said something about the land he came from being dried up
and spent.
Yeah, and, for sure.
And he immediately puts this girl under the spell and marries her.
Right.
So like immediately, like when people are coming to the house
to ordering that guy out of his house?
Yes, he's like, I am the master of this house now. I think you're mistaken. And he's like, maybe I'm asking you what your fucking problem is. Why are you banging on my door?
That was one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Me too, because he's
a boss.
He just took it over. Yeah. And he was very Lon Chaney about it, where he was looking large and in charge in that Larry Talbot character.
He wasn't
being the meekish Dracula.
He wasn't being the elegant Bela Lugosi.
Exactly. He wasn't doing it with his hand. He wasn't like,
Bela Lugosi
controlling
had
your thought.
a sense when he was ordering people around. It was almost because he was like with royal authority.
Exactly.
Whereas with Lon Chaney Jr.,
he's like,
because
dude,
I'm a physically imposing mother.
Yeah.
I don't care. Royalty
Dracula has no
to do
reason to puff up your chest.
Yeah, yeah, but he does.
Oh yeah,
and
and he's got that really bad '70s like porn star mustache.
It's a really bad mustache.
I
don't know why they went with the mustache.
I don't know
either. Was Lon Chaney Jr. wearing a mustache at the time?
I don't think it's his mustache. No, it's too dark.
It's bad.
And maybe that's the grainy black and white too, but I didn't like it
mustache.
Either. It was like if he had some like aviators on, he would be.
He
horrible.
Wasn't. There were parts like that hallway scene where he's confronting those guys in his new home. That he's great, and there's other scenes where I just don't buy his Dracula.
Yeah. Some of it's real campy and shitty.
Yeah,
but
so he's just
like
there.
Where he put his coffins out in like an actual mausoleum. It was cool how he hid it for a change instead of just putting the goddamn coffin in the basement like everybody else. Right?
Wasn't it underwater? Isn't there something with water?
Eventually, I think it gets flooded, but it was. I fell asleep before the end.
Okay. Nice,
but it wasn't underwater when they initially were busting the top off of it and finding his bride in there sleeping as well.
Okay.
But it was. I mean, if he had been in the Gillman suit, he would have just he would have just ran the whole fucking gambit.
He's really
like he should be called Mr. Universal.
Him, and then there's I have told you this before. I'm a huge Paul Nash fan.
Right.
Just fucking bonkers for this fucking guy. He's like larger than life character, like real life, like the guy. Like he's fucking kind of nuts. You know what I mean? There's a video of him. It's like the Paul Nashy workout. I swear to fucking Christ, the guy's jogging with a cigarette in his fucking mouth.
All right.
Nice. It's cold as fuck outside, and he's like, and then part of his workout is shooting and throwing knives. Like it's like just testosterone fueled Spanish craziness. Like it's amazing.
That's awesome.
And he is definitely the European horror. Like the 70s Euro trash horror version of Lon Chaney Jr.
Right?
For sure. He's that guy he's played every monster but the Gill Man.
Right.
The Gill Man is one of those monsters that isn't picked up by other studios the way the other monsters are.
Right. Nobody wanted to put the money out for that shit.
No,
probably.
There will be, it seems like other studios we're going to do a Frankenstein and a Dracula and a Wolfman. And,
you can make that cheesy laboratory in the bottom
but there's something like,
castle.
We're not doing a Creature from the Black, we're not doing a Fishman movie, and no one makes that movie.
Because Jaws took it over, like we talked about last week.
Water horror. I love aquatic horror.
It's hard to be scared of that motherfucker now. Like most dudes would be like, maybe I can take him,
Right.
Whereas you're not gonna like fist fight a shark,
fish man,
unless you're
he's out of the water.
Zombie, and then you will fist fight a shark. A zombie fighting a shark.
Zombie 2 by Lucio Fulci.
Yes,
that's one of my favorite zombie movies, if not my favorite zombie movie.
Really.
I like it because
a lot of people share that feeling.
It takes what a zombie movie should be, which is about voodoo. Technically, if it's a zombie, it should play. If it doesn't have voodoo in it, it's a ghoul. It's not a zombie. That's my
Bela
personal...
Lugosi's first white zombie.
Voodoo. That's
the first zombie movie I think of when I think of the original.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was the first zombie movie, and it might have been. I know there was a movie called Revolt of the Zombies, and another one called King of the Zombies, and I don't know what came first. I'm thinking, though, it was White Zombie.
White Zombie goes back. I want to say that's...
White Zombie is definitely the movie that brought voodoo to the, American suburban imagination. It made it real and scary. If white people weren't scared of black people enough in the 1930s, they give them voodoo.
I'll never go to Haiti ever, right?
But, I love zombie 2 is I think what they officially call it. I know it as Lucio Fulci's Zombie.
Right.
You
right.
know?
Me too.
And it's got some of the best fucking practical effects I've ever fucking seen in my life in that movie. Some of the grossest fucking zombie shit you'll ever see.
Yeah.
I love the beginning with the fucking boat just floating in the harbor and the goofy fucking clumsy harbor cop like stumbling around this fucking boat, and like the biggest chubbiest zombie you've ever seen comes stumbling out, and he looks like shit. He looks like he's been dead for a long fucking time.
Right.
Bites this motherfucker's cheek off, and it is just
stretchy
and
gross.
Wow, man, it is fucking hard to watch every time. And that's the movie that has that wonderful slow motion eye piercing with the chunk of wood.
Right.
There's two things in that movie. There's the fucking zombie fighting the shark.
Right.
And I don't know how the
fuck.
go
down in history.
One, that fucking stunt man, whoever the fuck he is, he's a brave motherfucker. Right, yeah. And I don't know what they did with that shark either.
Right? How they got it riled up and angry.
How'd they keep it from not killing that guy? Right. Did they knock all its teeth out or something? Oh, no. Do you know, did they catch a shark and then knock all its teeth out? Because this was...
And then let it gum him.
I mean, it's like the Bahamas in the 70s. These guys are doing whatever the fuck they want.
Animals
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. You know, like zombie Holocaust style. Like, we're just going to do what we want. They're animals. It's not actors. Fuck it. I wouldn't put it past Lucio Fulci to catch a tiger shark, knock its teeth out with a hammer, drug it, and then throw it in the water with this fucking stunt man. You know, wrestle around with that fucking shark for a while. And it looked like the open ocean. It didn't look like
it didn't look like a tank. It didn't have that Hollywood feel to it.
It didn't. And for some reason, I was watching Thunderball the other day, and there was a lot of stunt work with tiger sharks.
Right.
In a lot of this similar way, and I was wondering if maybe that's the same stunt crew.
Maybe
because that's a specialty, you know.
Yeah, and that's like the same era too, so
right? And I was kind of like, it looks really like a lot of the stuff he did with this tiger shark was a lot of the same stuff they did with the tiger shark and Zombie. Right, so I'm kind of, I haven't researched it.
Hey, can you lend me that Bond shark?
Yeah.
Knock its fucking teeth out.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do with it? I'm gonna make it fight a zombie.
Right. No shit. And it does bite the zombie's arm off. And
right.
That, you know, naked chick comes popping up. There was a man down there. What? A man. Right. And they're like, you were seeing shit. Right. You're closest to the deep or something. You're scared because of the shark. You can see a guy. And we never hear that shark. We never hear that. Yeah, we definitely never hear the shark again. But we never hear that zombie again. He just fucking...
No, he just went down.
Wander around at the bottom of the fucking ocean, man.
Right.
You know, and you figure...
That'd be a great remake. As he just comes walking out of the water 12 years later, barnacles stuck to him and shit.
Right.
He finally made it to Australia.
Right, finally made it. Falling apart. There was something in that movie that kind of bugged me was when they come across, because it's the Caribbean, and they come across an old conquistador graveyard. And conquistador zombies start coming up. As if they'd still have flesh on their bones, right. Especially in a tropical environment, you know.
And goatees. They always have the goatees on long hair.
Yeah. There was a zombie movie made around the same time, and I can't remember the title, but it has to do with Templar Knights that are zombies. And
really?
Yeah. And
I would watch that.
Oh, it's very Lucio Fulci. I mean, it's an Italian zombie movie made in the 70s, so they all have that same Lucio
feel, same
Fulci
look,
vibe.
It's kind of like the old westerns, the old fucking. They all have that same Italian
vibe, right? There's
something
good,
about the uglies.
There's something about the film they use, the film quality. It's like it ties everything together real well.
You know, and to me, that's great film quality.
Oh, like, I love it.
I prefer it.
I prefer it as well. I don't like
time came with technology, and now I want it to go back to that shit.
Like Tarantino's still using.
I went and saw The Hateful Eight.
Was it 32 millimeter?
It was a 70 millimeter,
70 millimeter
limited edition thing. I got a cool book and everything for going in on it.
I think it's beautiful.
It was. It was amazing.
Film just looks better than digital. It just does.
I need the grain to associate it.
Digital doesn't look as good yet. And it might never.
Like 4K recording to me, when I looked at it on like my GoPro and stuff, it's too real. Yeah. It doesn't give me the image that I'm watching a movie.
Right.
If for that crystal clearness, you need to be looking out your own eyes at physically something happening.
Right.
It's not movie to me.
Right. I agree.
It looks too real.
Like the Gauntlet.
Have you seen any of the sci-fi movies? Sci-Fi Channel.
Recently?
They're so clear.
It's irritating.
Makes it fake.
Yeah.
They made it so real it became fake. That makes sense to you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't like the look.
Did you say The Gauntlet?
Clint Eastwood.
I own it. I love it.
That's the kind of film texture that I'm talking about when I think
that's like
movie.
70s sexploitation drain.
Awesome.
It's dark almost. The browns are brown, the grays are gray.
There's something really.
It always looks like a cloudy day.
Right.
Even when it's sunny, it looks like a cloudy day.
It's sunny, especially in The Gauntlet, because it's pretty fucking sunny in that fucking movie.
It is. The kid bought that for me on Blu-ray.
Nice.
She saw Clint Eastwood on it, and she was like, "You love him, right?" And I'm like, "I do." And it's funny because I'd seen that movie
amazing
once.
movie to get.
Right?
It's a great fucking.
Right?
The Gauntlet with Clint Eastwood is a fucking amazing.
And I'm hard to buy for, Like I have all the Star Wars and all the shit that I love. So it was a good gamble.
Right. For sure. That was a good one. That was I love when I get surprises like that. Like, okay, it was my birthday recently, and my mom.
40 years old, Eric turned, by the way.
That's right. And my mother, out of nowhere, buys me Arthur with Dudley Moore.
I love that movie. The
rich guy. Get the fuck out of here, Mom. Are you
rich
fucking
and drunk?
Kidding me?
Drunk, so drunk.
Oh, Dudley Moore stumbling around.
I remember him drunk in a bathtub with like a
top hat.
Right, yeah.
Surrounded by toys.
And it was hard for me to understand him when I was a kid.
Because it was between
so
the accent and the
that was Liza Minnelli, too, right?
Liza Minnelli. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had like a weird crush on
Sir
her, kind
John
of Joan
Gielgud,
Jett.
I think is the butler.
Yeah, and he was basically just to keep him in line. No, like that was his full-time job. He was babysitting, right?
Wipe a grown man's ass.
Drunk and puking. And
he would get drunk and just fuck prostitutes and play with toys like a little kid. And that was like his day.
Exactly what would happen to me if I
had millions and millions of dollars. And it was 1980s New York, which is the best New York ever. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's standing like Gramercy Park and he's getting toted around in a Rolls.
Once they fixed New York, it's not as fun anymore.
It's not dirty anymore.
It's just
it really is still, but
it's like it's all TRL and fucking clean, and I'm not into it. But I don't like digital shit. I don't like Michael Bay. I think what
none of it.
I think what Michael Bay has done to my fucking childhood is fucking fucked up, man.
He has ravaged your.
Oh, he took two of the greatest toy lines ever and then just pissed all over them.
You got no love for the Transformers?
None?
Like none?
I like how some of them look. I do like. There's just, and what I like about the Transformer movies is purely technical. Like I like how some of them look. I like Bumblebee especially. I like how his doors like pop up like little wings.
I guess.
There's little things.
There are little things. And I liked a few of them at the start. It got kind of worse as we got Marky Marked and stuff. But
well.
So on that note, we got to wrap up though, because you got to get.
Right.
So thanks. Tune in next time.
Thank you.